The oak that will not bend to the hurricane's breath does not prove its strength, but its brittleness. It is in the yielding that the true power of survival is revealed. I have watched men, and I have watched rivers. A man, left to his own devices, will dig for himself a channel, deep and familiar. And there he will flow, day after day, year upon year. The banks are high, the course is set. He knows every stone, every eddy. He calls this peace. He names it contentment. But I tell you, this is not life. It is a slow, comfortable sedimentation into oblivion. The water grows stagnant, the spirit grows thick, and a film of despair, so faint he mistakes it for tranquility, settles upon his soul. A river, a true river, is never the same. It is a creature of change. It is fed by the melting snows of distant mountains, swollen by the spring rains, pared back by the summer sun. It carves new paths when the old ones no longer serve. It floods its banks, and in doing so creates new, fertile land. It does not cling to its bed for fear of the unknown mud. It moves, it adapts, it becomes. It is in the very act of change that the river finds its purpose, its power, its song. You fear change because you worship at the altar of the known. You have made a god of your routine, a shrine of your comfort. You believe the horizon of your life is fixed, and to venture beyond its line is to risk annihilation. This is the grandest of illusions. The only true constant in this cosmos, from the spinning of the celestial spheres to the beating of your own heart, is transformation. To resist it is not to preserve yourself. It is to stand upon the shore and declare war upon the ocean, a battle you have already lost before the first shot is fired. I speak not of the trivial changes, the shifting of seasons in a single town, the turning of fashion, the petty alterations of circumstance. I speak of the seismic shifts of the soul, the change that comes when vocation becomes aversion, the change that is demanded when love curdles into obligation, the change that is required when the man you have been can no longer house the man you are destined to become. This kind of change does not feel like a gentle rain. It feels like the breaking of a levee. It is a cataclysm, and it is the most necessary thing in the world. You whisper to yourself in the dark of night, but what if I fail? What if I am wrong? What if I lose what little I have? These are the questions of a prisoner weighing the merits of his chains against the terror of the open field. The chains are known. Their weight is a familiar agony. The field is unknown. It may hold wolves, or it may hold wheat, sunlight, and a home you cannot yet imagine. Consider this. The greater failure is not to attempt a new path and find it wanting. The greater failure is to never attempt it at all, and to spend the remainder of your days a ghost in your own life, haunted by the specter of what might have been. Regret for the things we did not do is a tombstone that crushes the soul for a lifetime, while the sting of a mistake is but a momentary wound from which wisdom is drawn. How then does one embrace the hurricane? How does the soul learn to demand the storm? First, you must make an altar of your fear. Do not hide from it. Do not numb it with drink or distraction. Sit with it. Interrogate it. Let it speak its terrible poetry. It will tell you of collapse, of ruin, of humiliation. Listen until it is finished. Then ask yourself, and what if I survive? What if on the other side of this ruin I find a strength I never knew I possessed? What if the humiliation is the very medicine that cures me of my pride? Fear is a map, not a prison. It shows you precisely where your growth lies waiting. Second, you must cultivate the faith of a farmer. He does not dig up his seeds each day to see if they have sprouted. He trusts the process. He trusts the sun, the rain, and the dark, unknowable magic of the soil. He plants and he waits. You must learn to plant the seed of a new intention, to leave the old employment, to begin the new study, to mend the broken fence, to sail toward the uncharted sea, And then you must trust. You must have faith that the universe is not a barren wasteland, but a fertile ground that responds to courage. Action is the planting. Trust is the water. Finally, you must redefine your very notion of self. You are not the channel. You are not the banks. You are the water. You are fluid, adaptable, powerful, and pure. Your essence is not your job, your reputation, your possessions, or even your relationships. These are but forms you temporarily inhabit. Your essence is the boundless, eternal capacity to flow, to change, to carve canyons through the stone of adversity, and to eventually merge with the vast, magnificent ocean of being. The storm is not your enemy. The earthquake is not your annihilation. They are the universe's way of asking you a single vital question. Are you ready to become more than you are? Do not cower in the cellar of your former self. Throw open the shutters. Stand in the rain. Let the wind strip away all that is not essential. For it is only when we are utterly exposed and utterly willing that we are finally ready to be remade. The door to a new life does not open on quiet hinges. It is kicked from its frame by a soul that has chosen to stop asking for permission to exist. There is a corpse that walks among you, breathing your air, casting a shadow in your sun. It is not a thing of ghouls or graveyards. It is the man who has buried his own potential. It is the woman who has mummified her passion in the linen of practicality. They move through the world with a hollow core, a museum of their own might-have-beens, and the only epitaph they are slowly writing day by quiet day is this: I was afraid, and so I did not live. I have walked through the silent valleys of these souls. I have heard the whispers that echo in their emptiness. It is not a loud torment. It is not a screaming agony. It is a low, constant hum of disappointment, a quiet, internal shattering that makes no sound the world can hear. It is the tragedy of the song never sung, the battle never fought, the love never declared, the voyage never begun. It is a death that occurs in the midst of breath, and it is the only death that should truly frighten you. You believe tragedy is to strive and to fail. You are wrong. Failure is a badge of honor worn by those who dared to taste the bitter and the sweet of existence. Tragedy is to never have striven at all. It is to have stood on the edge of the diving board your whole life, testing the water with a timid toe, calculating the chill, until your legs grow weak and your hair turns white, and you finally shuffle back down the ladder, having never felt the shocking, invigorating plunge. What is this cowardice that masquerades as wisdom? What is this fear that dresses itself in the robes of prudence? You tell yourself, the time is not right. When, I ask you, has the time ever been right? When were the stars perfectly aligned for the farmer to plant? He plants in the mud, in the cold, in the uncertainty of spring, because he knows that to wait for perfect weather is to guarantee a harvest of dust. You are waiting for a guarantee that the universe is not structured to provide. You are waiting for a permission slip signed by God himself, not realizing the blank page of your life is that permission. You mourn the wasted years, the lost opportunities, as if they were jewels stolen from a vault. You gaze at the closed door and weep that it is closed. But I ask you, who bolted that door? Who welded the hinges? It was you, and only you, in 1,000 small surrenders, 1,000 tiny no's whispered to the urging of your own spirit. You chose the path of least resistance until you became immune to all current, a stagnant pond where nothing moves and nothing grows. This unlived life is a weight that bends the spine of the soul. It is a debt compounded daily with a usurious interest of regret. It is the ghost that sits at your table, the specter that shares your bed. It is the constant aching reminder of the self-betrayal that has become your habit. You have not been betrayed by fate, by circumstance, or by another person. You have been betrayed by the only person whose opinion ultimately matters. the you that you were meant to be. To reverse this tragedy requires not a miracle, but a decision. A brutal, unflinching audit of the soul. You must look at the man in the glass and speak the raw, unvarnished truth. I have chosen comfort over courage. I have chosen approval over authenticity. I have chosen the safety of the cage over the terrifying freedom of the sky. This confession is the first searing step toward liberation. Then you must perform the sacred act of mourning. Mourn the time lost. Weep for the version of you that never was. Let the grief wash over you. It is right to grieve. It is honorable. But then you must bury that corpse. You must enter the ghost. Have a funeral for your unlived life. Speak its eulogy. Then turn your back on the grave and walk toward the living world. For the tragedy is not yet absolute. It is only absolute when the final breath is drawn. As long as you have air in your lungs and fire in your heart, the potential for life remains. The song may be sung in a different key, the battle fought on a different field, the love declared in a different season, the voyage begun from a different place, different shore, but it can still be done. The universe does not care about your past. It only responds to the passion and truth of your present moment. Do not let your biography become an obituary for a life that never was. Let the rest of your days be a relentless, furious, glorious campaign to live, to really live, to feel the sun and the rain on your face, to risk everything for a dream that makes your heart pound against your ribs, to speak the truth even if your voice shakes, to love without the guarantee of return, to be foolish, to be brave, to be messy, to be magnificent. The tragedy is not in falling short of the mark. The tragedy is in never having taken aim. The greatest prison is not made of stone and iron, but of the familiar, the comfortable, the already known. A cage you polish with your own hands day after day and call it home. Beware the life of ease, for it is a siren's song, a melody that dulls the senses and rocks the soul to sleep. It is a velvet-lined coffin where a man may recline in comfort, watching the shadows dance on the wall and mistake the flickering for the fire of true living. This is the great seduction of our age, not the temptation of evil, but the far more insidious lure of the insignificant. I have seen it in the eyes of men who have everything and nothing. They possess fine houses, but their souls are tenantless. They have full bellies, but their hearts are hollow. They are surrounded by noise and activity, yet a profound silence dwells within them. They have traded the rugged, uncertain terrain of purpose for the smooth, paved path of convenience. They have exchanged the mountain wind for the stale air of a sealed room, and they do not even remember the taste of freedom. This shallow life is built upon a foundation of trivialities. It is a life measured in possessions acquired, in gossip exchanged, in hours killed, in opinions borrowed from the newspaper and never questioned in the quiet of one's own mind. It is a life of surface without depth, of sound without music, of motion without direction. It is a frantic dance on the edge of the abyss, performed so that one does not have to peer into the terrifying and magnificent depths below. Why do you choose this? Why do you willingly drink the lukewarm water of mediocrity when you could taste the sharp, clean wine of excellence? Why do you feast on the husks when you are heir to the harvest? It is because depth requires courage. It demands that you look into the mirror of your own soul and acknowledge the darkness there, as well as the light. It requires that you ask the difficult questions. Why am I here? What do I love? What would I die for? What truth must I speak, even if my voice shakes? The shallow life absolves you of this responsibility. It offers you a pre-packaged identity, a set of ready-made opinions, a schedule of distractions to ensure you never have to be alone with the terrifying wonder of your own being. It is an anesthetic, And like any anesthetic, it works until it doesn't. Until the moment, often in the dead of night, when the facade cracks and the void yawns wide, and you are confronted with the chilling truth of your own emptiness. Do not mistake comfort for happiness. They are not merely different, they are often enemies. Happiness is a byproduct of engagement, of struggle, of meaning. It is found in the sweat of labor, in the ache of growth, in the quiet satisfaction of a duty performed with honor. Comfort is merely the absence of discomfort. It is a neutral state, a zero. To seek comfort as the highest good is to aim for a life of perfect nothingness. The world does not need more comfortable men. It needs men who are awake, men who are deep, men who have delved into the caverns of their own hearts and returned with a spark of the eternal fire. It needs women who are not afraid of silence, who can sit with the profound questions and not rush to the shallow answers provided by the crowd. How does one break the seduction? How does one dive deep? You must first create a void. You must consciously, deliberately rid your life of the clutter that suffocates the soul. This is not merely a physical decluttering, though that may be a start. It is a mental and spiritual austerity. Turn off the noise. Cancel the subscriptions to the trivial. Walk away from the conversations that are nothing but air. Create a desert of silence around you, for it is only in the desert that one can hear the voice of God. Then, you must seek out weight, gravitas. Fill the newly created space not with more distraction, but with substance. Read the book that challenges you. Contemplate the idea that frightens you. Take up the work that demands your very best, then give more than your best. Seek out the company of those who see the world in terms of depth, not surface. The thinkers, the poets, the artisans, the quiet warriors. Embrace the struggle. The shallow life is easy. The deep life is hard. It is a constant wrestling match with angels and demons. You will be misunderstood. You will be lonely. You will feel the ache of the climb. But you will also feel the sun on your face from a height you never thought possible. You will breathe an air so rare and so fine that it will make the thick, complacent atmosphere of the shallow world seem like a poison. Choose depth. Choose the struggle. Choose the silent, profound core of your own existence over the noisy, glittering surface of the world. For in the end, we are not measured by the comfort we attained, but by the depths we had the courage to sound.